بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. زملائي الأساتذة, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Teacher Na3im with you today with another video in a continuing training course for novice and trainee teachers. In this one, we're going to be looking at teaching receptive skills, that is, listening and reading. I'm sure you are all familiar with the PDP framework, but when it comes to planning and presenting, some of you, especially the new ones, might stall, might stall or mix things up and find it hard to join theory and practice. That's why I am doing this series of videos. Right, this is a PDP framework in that chart, with the pre-listening or pre-reading phase, the during listening, and the post-listening or reading phase. First remark, notice that the warm-up phase or the warm-up stage is outside the box. It's outside, it's not within the lesson. In fact, warm-up has nothing to do with the lesson. Warm-up is when the teacher gets into his classroom, greets his students, says a few things about maybe the weather. It depends on how confident you are, right? And depends on the level of your learners, depends on how many kids you have in the classroom. You cannot say the same things for a classroom of 13 with another class of 30. It's different. Things are going to be totally different. But all in all, a warm-up is when you, before you start your lesson, you greet your learners, you say a few words, you ask, how are you today, things like that. And maybe you may talk about the weather, things like that, depending on how confident you are and at the bound between you and your learners, right? Concerning the lesson now, here are the three main phases, right? Pre-listening, during listening, and post or after. All right. The most frequently asked question here is this: do I have to cover all the three steps in one teaching period? أساتذة يسقسوا لازم نكملهم هذول 3 steps. The frequently given answer is yes, because you have to think of your lesson as a unit with a beginning, a middle section, and an end, right? It's like a meal. However, even with a meal, you can go with the starter. The starter is going to call for the main course, and you might leave the dessert for later. For any reason. It's the same with your lesson. You may start with the pre-listening reading phase, get into the during, and because you don't have much time left or things like that, you are going to leave the post-listening or post-reading for another teaching period. It's okay. This can happen, but it is preferable to cover the 3 phases of your lesson in one teaching period, right? Now, matching theory to practice. My next video, inshallah, I'm going to be demonstrating how I use a PDP framework, planning a listening comprehension, right, lesson, and I'm going to be focusing on Unit 2. Our findings show lesson number 1, listening and speaking. All right, for that, please check this video. It's going to be here or available very soon. Till then, do your best. Goodbye to all.